Hiya, Georgie. Do you want a balloon? Okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. Sorry. Hello, everyone. Today we are going to be watching It 2017. Full disclosure, I have seen this movie before. I have watched it twice before, actually. But just a couple days ago, I finished reading Stephen King's It. Actually, it's a massive book. It's like 1,200 pages. It was a lot. But I finished it, so obviously I will have to watch the movie now and point out all the things that I noticed from the books, what I like and what I don't like, that type of thing. And I also I do realize that my last video is about Descendants Part 4, but we're gonna ignore that because I also like horror movies. So I'm going to watch this anyway. Deal with it. So yeah, let's get started with it. There's a balloon. Good old Derry. Could never be as weird as it is in the book. That house looks so much like what I built in The Sims, but let's forget about that. Who of the kids, wait a second. Somebody named their kid Chosen and I don't know who it is. Let me just quickly look that up actually. Chosen Jacobs. Okay, that's Mike then. Chosen. I'm really sorry that your parents chose to name you this way. Oh my god. American names are wild, man. I'm not from America, I'm from Europe. And where I live, we actually have laws about the names that you can give your children. Like if you choose names that are too outlandish, or are very sure, if you try to name your child Gucci, for example, the state might actually say, no, you can't do that. That's gonna get your kid bullied. You cannot do that. Choose a different name. Which, of course, it is always there are just as many bad names getting through as they are being banned. But in general, I do think that it is great that in the country where I live, you cannot name your child like Elon Musk. So that's something that just made me think about. It has nothing to do with the movie. Let me just continue, okay? Georgie's so cute. This part. I love this about this movie, that it just knows how to make small things be so ominous. Also the way Bill was folding, the paper boat, that was so ominous. It's the whole design of this film. This film looks really good. I like this smile thing with Pennywise that they just did. It's quite fun. It's quite cool. Also, Bill has the most kid handwriting that I've ever seen, and that is lovely. Yes, next, I need to stop every 2 seconds. This is going to take so long. This movie is over 2 hours. But anyway, I like that they set it in the 80s, because the later part of the original Stephen King's novel was set in the 80s. I'm pretty sure that the 1990s adaptation was set in the later part was set in the 90s. So it was 60s, 90s, we have 50s, 80s for the books, then we just missing 70s, 2000s, but we have the 80s and the 2010s. So we just need one more adaptation and we have a Pennywise through all the decades. So I really love that. And it also shows that the story is it is a cycle, so obviously you can set it anywhere. It kind of just feels kind of deep. And I can't quite grasp why it is. The mother, I don't think we ever see her again. Nice split shot too. You really notice that, different from Descendants, which was the last thing I watched and talked over, this has so little dialogue. Meanwhile, Descendants were just constantly talking. Oh god. Yeah, Georgie, you're brave. You poor child. You just know that these people were we need a cute actor for Georgie. Is she a Stephen King novel? I need to look that up, actually. Stephen King. Oh no, okay, so that's just a German thing. I'm from Germany. So in Germany, The novel Misery by Stephen King is called C, which means she. Back to it. Oh, poor Georgie, you're gonna get yourself sick if you weren't gonna get yourself killed. Love how grainy it looks. It's just a cool design, I love that. Oh, the wondrous music. So cool. Fucking kids. That just made him so endearing. So that's makes it so much sadder. Oh, and also he has the walkie-talkie, which I didn't remember. Jump scare in 3, 2... Oh, and I never realized this. Somebody else pointed this out when I recently watched a different reaction. But his eyes turn blue. Here you go. See? His eyes change color. Which, that's such a cool detail. I never noticed that myself. This movie is so iconic that whenever they call Georgie George in the book or in the other movie adaptation, I'm always like, no, that's not George, that's Georgie. Because that's so much cuter. I really want to check when his eyes change back. Here's the dairy magic in the works. You see, in like any other town, she'd be like, yeah, hell, what are you doing down there? Because he's doing something really, really weird. He's like, stay away from it, you're gonna fall in, or you're gonna get yourself stuck or something. But it's Derry, so she doesn't. And because Derry has like a curse of that people just look away from bad things. Like, they only come after and are shocked after it happened, but during the happening themselves, they're like not reacting at all. That's a part of Derry. So it's nice that they show that with that woman. It's just part of Derry, but it's probably hard to get if you don't know that part about it. They're still blue though. His eyes are still blue. So good. So scary. This scene is so iconic. There it goes. This scene is so good. I couldn't even talk throughout the rest of it because it still keeps me in suspense. I've seen it so many times. So effective. And they full on committed on just having him rip his fucking arm off. I was like really shocked to learn to read in the beginning of the book. That doesn't actually happen, that he gets like pulled back into the sewers. It doesn't happen. He's lying there, and when the woman, or I think it's a man in the book, comes like 30 seconds after it happens, Georgie's already dead. That was also really, really effective. I really like the angle that the movie took, the freedom that it took of being like, yeah, no, Georgie's not dead, he's missing. Like, yeah, he's dead, of course he is dead. So I like that they did it, even though the book did differently. What's going to be happening where I'm like, yeah, the book did different, but I like it there anyway. Spoiler alert for the rest of the review. Okay, I have talked about this scene enough. I love this scene, it's really, really good. Can't be topped. Always have to hold back from showing it to my mom because she doesn't like horror movies, but I'm like, this scene is the greatest thing, you need to watch it, but like at the same time I don't want to torture her, so. See, it's after the fact, now she's reacting. That's a really cool shot. Roll credits. Here we are in the Barrens. Okay, so here's a change from the book. Mike actually was the only one of the Losers Club who like kind of had decent parents. His dad kind of, because all of the Losers Club have The Shining, right? It's not outright stated in the book, but they have The Shining. His dad was kind of the most receptive. He kind of most knows that there's something wrong with Derry. They just killed him off and made him live with his grandfather, which his grandfather is kind of, we never see this guy again, I don't think. And we gave Mike this really tragic backstory because apparently his giant bird, which is the fear that he has in the book, is not scary enough, so we do the fire thing. Gotta say, I kind of would have liked Mike's father, whose name I unfortunately forgot, to be present and to be like kind of healthy at least. Yeah, they made a choice. I don't hate it. It works well enough, but I would have preferred it the way the book did it. So here we have, that's Finn Wolfhard, but here we have Belsh, we have Henry, we have Discount Draco Malfoy, which I think is Victor, and we have Patrick Hockstetter, who, and I kid you not, is the most fucked up person in the entirety of it. In the book, is worse than Pennywise. Like, because at least Pennywise is this cosmic entity, this massive freak of nature. I think I'm gonna talk later about Patrick a little bit more. His chapter blew my mind. But I'm a big fan of Chris's Draco Malfoy type hairstyle. It's kind of funny. I have questions, and the question is, how does Greta know where Beverly is? Because Beverly did not walk there. She could have walked through it back, but we didn't see her. Okay, she couldn't have seen her. Look at how little of her cigarette she has left. Also, the other girl is already working on the trash thing that she's about to do. What a waste. Funny story about my time in school. So, where I come from, we don't get to throw our books away because we don't have to buy them. We kind of borrow them from school. At the beginning of the year, you get like your set of books, and in the end of the term, you have to bring them back. And we had this really, really scary teacher who was like responsible for taking all the books back and like seeing that you had everything and that you gave everything back, and if you like ruined one of your books, you would have to pay money for it. And for like the end of the year, this is the scariest thing that we did. We had to do we had to get our books back, and he was just like, oh shit, I hope I have everything. I have every single one of my books, and I haven't forgotten anything, and like one of the pages has a dog ear, and oh my god, I hope she doesn't notice, and it was really scary. So them throwing their books away is kind of really weird for me. But yeah, that happened. This is going to be such a long reaction because I get sidetracked so bad. Anyway, yes, Richie's a little ass, and he has no tact. But what I actually wanted to point out is, look at Billy's hair. His hair is kind of reddish, which that is accurate to the book, actually. They like toned it a little bit, which that's nice attention to detail without making him like a full-blown redhead, which I thought in the book was really stupid. Like, what is Derry? Convention of redheads? But they paid homage to that, so that's cool. The way they changed Henry's dad is kind of interesting because Butch Bowers, they call him Crazy Butch Bowers throughout the whole book because he's so insane. He's like the most awful racist. He's really, really racist, specifically against Mike's family. When Henry, in the book, killed Mike's dog, he like poisoned him and watched him die. It was really, really, really vile. Butch was like, here, son, you 13-year-old psychopath, have a beer. And he just like praised him for it. In this one, at least he's like kind of being like, don't bully people. Like, I have a hard time, like, obviously he's not like being nice to Henry, but Henry's a little shit. Like, yeah, he's really, really rough on Henry, and I think something must have made Henry like really bad, so probably it was his parents. But from what we see Butch Bowers do in the movie, can't really say, but meanwhile in the book, definitely. Hey Benny, he's my favorite character. It's so awkward and it's so cute. I can't with this. It's so adorable. It just immediately makes you feel for Ben. That's another just wild thing. We don't do that. You just learn a lot about German in high schools these days, but we don't do that. We don't have yearbooks. My school did have a sort of yearbook where they were like pictures, like group pictures, but there was no signage going on. Oh, she's left-handed. Oh god, poor little Ben. It is so relatable of just having this massive art project that you just have to take home, and you have so much to carry, and it's super annoying. That's really ingenious of him to do. However, since we don't have as much time with the losers as we have in the book, I kind of feel like it's a bit sad that they changed the different talents that the losers have, because like architecture, which this is kind of sort of little bit of architecture is Ben's thing and history is Mike's thing, but they gave the history to Ben, so why would he be good at architecture? It's kind of a bit weird because in the later movie, obviously, Ben's the architect, Mike's the historian. and Billy's the writer, which in the 1990s version, he actually tells a story, which is a bit on the nose, but kind of cute. Oh my god, Easter egg. There's that's of the Bradley gang, I think. So what happens in the book, and in the movie as well, it's talked about later, it's that there's always like violence in Derry around the 27-year cycle mark. And once an infamous like gangster gang came to Derry and they wanted to buy guns, but the gun store owner was like, I don't have everything you're asking for, so come back tomorrow. And then he rallied the whole town. And when the gang came in again, they just lynched them. They wouldn't have a mural because nobody talks about the Bradley gang murder, but that's okay. I think it makes sense for Stanley to have his own religiously motivated fear, because I don't remember actually what the fear was that he had. I just remember that he was the one trapped in the standpipe. I don't remember what attacked him. I mean, it's been like 900 pages since then. The underlying thing is, of course, that he's a bit scared of his role in his religion. And here we have a little bit of OCD coming in. There's a little thing. I don't mean to sound like I'm nitpicking, I'm just pointing out things. Billy called Eddie Eds, which I think that's the name that he doesn't want to be called. That would be so weird for Bill to do that, because Bill is, in the book at least, Eddie's best friend. So Stranger Things of them. Oh, he said "Hi-yo, silver away," which is, reportedly, in the book, the only phrase that Bill never stutters. I just want to pause here. See, here's a clown. Also, this is the 1908 Easter egg hunt celebration that may or may not have ended in a lot of death. But he turns around. See, look at this. A lot of people point this out, but it's so creepy. I want to really pay attention to it at this point. This picture, he really looks like my young grandfather, so that is very creepy. Stop it. God, look at her. That's so weird. It's so creepy. It's really, really cool. Oh, reach for the stars, read a book. I'm pretty sure that's in the book as well. That exact. Poor Ben has never seen a horror movie before. Oh God. Ben following the haunted jelly bean trail is giving me anxiety, even though I know exactly what happens. Oh, he's smoking. So good. So Stan in the book is really good with birds, so apparently he is very good with plants, so Stan is good with nature. Because Patrick is about to die, I want to talk a little bit more about him, because again, he's like the most fucked up person in this entire book. So Patrick has his own chapter, and it starts, he killed his baby brother, very much on purpose, just because he was like, he fucks up the routine. I know my parents love him more because he's not weird like me. That's one thing he did, and after that he was like, I can't really do that because that's like breaking the rules, but I could break the rules in like a smaller way. And he starts like finding like stray dogs and stray cats, and once or twice he finds Pet too, and he takes them to the scrapyard and puts them into like a fridge, and he just like leaves them in there, and he comes back to check on them and like watches them die, and that's just weird, man. And also one day in the scrapyard he kind of tries to make a move on Henry, which was very uncomfortable. It was very weird, and Beverly was there to watch, and then it moved in, and he's just scared of one thing, and that's leeches. So it turns into these giant leeches, and it goes all so X on him and sucks out one of his eyes, and like the leeches are moving in on him, and then he sees it, but it doesn't have any form, because apart from the leeches he's not really scared of anything, and it's just kind of shifting because it doesn't know what to transform into, because he's just not afraid of things. That was such a good chapter. Patrick Hoxter is just next level in the book, and I understand why they didn't put it in, but if they ever made a series of it, I wish they did. I'm not sure what Welcome to Derry will be about, but I don't think that. So also in the book, Henry, he got like super fucked up. He got like hit in the nuts, and like things that happened, and he like really hated him after that. Ben's actually like a bad son of a bitch, because Henry was like, let me copy, because they're like in the same grade, even though Henry's older. Ben was like, no, and he didn't let him copy. That's why he's after him. I feel bad for anyone who cannot feel safe in their own home. I think it's a little bit funny that she had like the perfect hairstyle, where her like the top of her head was already like styled in a way where she just had to chop it off and it would look good. That's kind of funny. God, I hate that love triangle so much. I think that's so cute. Like, just a little nerd being like, I have more stuff if you want to see my nerdy stuff. And everyone's like, sure. That's what every nerd ever says. Sorry, Ben. I'm a nerd too. It's fine. But anyways, I suppose it's a different day because Eddie doesn't have a spike. Keep walking, Eddie. Keep walking. That angle is so strong that he will drop his pills. She's so cute. She gives me anxiety with the way she's holding it because it could like snap. And I think this is pretty sharp. Ew, the hair though. Oh, she got all of that in her mouth. Poor girl. They really had great attention to detail. It really looks like period blood. Little turtle as a nod to the cosmic turtle, which, wild. Its best line is, yeah, I created the universe, but don't hold it against me. I had a belly ache. Like, what the fuck? King, what the fuck? That legitimately scared me. And I've seen this movie before. Okay, hi everyone, I'm back. It is a different day. I have no idea what I said last time. If I sounded tired throughout the last part that you heard, that was because I was. That's why I'm back at a different day. Yeah, I could have at least finished the fucking scene. Like, okay. But yeah, let's finish the rest of the movie. Let's go. I always need to say, Beverly's and Bill's love story. It's okay here. It's kind of cute. But in the book, it is so infuriating. The whole thing about how the losers work as a group, especially around Bill, is something that I really don't like. Because all of them worship Bill because they see him as like this natural born leader, which that is fine. But since the whole novel has a very, very weird relationship with free will, which basically means there is no free will in it, which also fine, but I feel like the relationships seem a lot less genuine for it, because it kind of feels like Beverly is forced to be with Bill. He's the leader. He's who they all are in love with, really. In general, from the book, I get this massive feeling that none of this is like choices that the characters make. It becomes especially bad when they're grown up and Bill is married, and yeah, they cheat on his wife, and she ends up with Ben, because of course she does. I will stop. It is 11 p.m. Okay, so let's talk about the rock fight. What happens in the book, which is, again, talking about free will in it, which is like the main thing that I took away from it, the lack of free will, is they're actually in the Barrens. The 6 losers are in the Barrens. And all of the sudden Stan, who is the one with the most shine, very clearly, because even after leaving Derry, he remembered the most of everyone. He just goes like, I kind of don't feel the Barrens anymore, let's go to the junkyard, which is where the rock fight takes place, just as like the bullies hunt Mike. It's just like, okay, Stan like really has the plot god's foresight in this moment, and yes, like the shine kind of works better in The Shining. It is more defined there, and because it's not named in it, but it's clearly there, it just kind of seems a little bit more vague and just seems to do whatever they need. The rock fight. So I live in Germany, right? And I don't know where else that is the case, leave a comment about it, because whenever it was winter and we were like on the schoolyard, the teachers would be like, no throwing snowballs because there could be stones in it, you could die. So this rock fight makes me so unbelievably anxious, just as a concept, because I'm like, you could die. There's like not even stones in it. They're like just stones. You could die. It's just very primal for me, where I'm like, I'm just not very comfortable with any of this. It's a miracle nobody got seriously injured. Okay, I think that was a little continuity error. Let me jump back. They seem so quickly gone that I noticed that scene a little bit, so let's just go on. So Edward Corcoran is in the book. He has his own chapter where his home life is explained, and that his father, or his stepfather I think, got arrested for killing his brother, sort of, kind of an accident. And Edward gets described very clearly what happens to him, how he gets eaten and things. It's really scary. You really feel for him, and you later see him half eaten in the spider's lair. Like that they put him in here. it's kind of funny that that happens. I know it's probably a dairy thing, but also like there's so much space on that wall and they're just putting all of the missing kids posters over each other. Like that's a little bit dumb dairy, but it's dairy we're talking about, so also these outfits are just so cool. Just saying. Just all of this whole vibe is just kind of cool. Also Richie's being a little menace. And also I think they have different movies. Good old Paul Bunyan. I don't think Paul Bunyan is in this movie. I mean, the black spot could have at least been like on the sewer things. And also Bill couldn't like know this, I don't think, because he's like not seen the map in detail. I don't think he could have known that. Like maybe he looked at it before, but like maybe he knows the spot where Georgie disappeared really well, but that's like not enough. I guess I'm suspending my disbelief. Whatever. I'm being overly critical. I'm sorry. I think it's a really cool moment that they like make the projector into like a movie, because a lot of the horror in that it did in the book came from movies, because especially Richie like watched a lot of horror films and he was like scared of a lot of things what he saw, which they didn't do here, but they like paid a little bit of homage to it, that the losers are big, especially Richie is like a huge horror movie buff. That's kind of cool. Richie's wearing a Freesius shirt, in case you didn't notice, which is a supermarket that he hid from the bullies from, so that's kind of cool. And then Richie is just showing that he has a heart of gold, so that's really cool. There are more people outside than there are inside, but okay. Also, like, Richie was just screaming, and they're like exactly in front of the door. You don't get to tell me that the others wouldn't come running. He's like, what the fuck is wrong? Like, they would come help. Also, spider webs for the true form of it. Oh, well, the not really true, but humanly true form of it. For perceptible for human. Oh my god, words. Oh, that's a cool effect, because they say that the house on Nebold seems to get bigger and like contract and extend, which they showed in this nice camera effect, so that's cool. Pennywise has like no reason to let the door open. I don't like the scene on Nebold Street much in this movie, because first of all they should have taken everyone. It's like so dumb to just go with 3 people, but obviously this thing is so long already. Like it makes sense for them to split up if like the room sizes change and things. It could have been like Mike could have been in there, because we haven't seen a lot of him yet, and like I don't know, whatever, dude. This is such a good moment of making him really look like a spider. Oh god, he's drooling so bad. So, in the book, actually, Eddie's arm did not get injured while he was with the losers. It was because he was not with the losers and Henry Bowers and his gang got him and broke his arm. She like wouldn't let him do sports with the other boys and like anything. And in this case, like she tried so hard to protect him, but she didn't protect him from the bullies. Then she like tried to protect him from his friends, which he like had a psychic vision that she was like talking to them and like sending them away in the hospital, and he like stood up to her, and it was a really strong moment, like really inspired me to write a scene for one of my own stories. This where he gets like injured during the fight with it kind of falls a little bit flat for me. I like the book version better. Sometimes I will prefer how the movie did it, and sometimes I will prefer how the book did it. Nobody's attending to Ben. That's such a badass line, though. I love how his gait changes. Kind of cool. Really like the crazy. He like moves like an older person for sure. Translates really well to his older actor in the second movie. Look at those eyes. Really good job from the actor. Oh, it's really cool kill. Just like the knife snapping into the neck's really cool. Like, that's a really good kill. That sounds a bit concerning. Anyway. Well, he's dead. I know he doesn't die, but like he should be dead because he's like still. Look at the blood. He should be dead. Funny to think that Pennywise opened the door. Chekhov's kettle gun. It's the junkyard. Oh well, no, it's not. But like, I think it's an homage to the junkyard. Nebold. There we go. Those are some fake sunflowers. Okay, so before we watch the rest of the movie, I am going to go to bed for today. I'm going to do this tomorrow. Because I have terrible time management. It should have just started earlier this day. So I'm just going to finish this tomorrow. Doing this in 3 parts. Just great. I am so smart. Okay, I'll see you then. I'll see you in a second. We are back for the third and final part for it. It is the next day. Guess what time it is? It is 15 minutes past 11. It's later than yesterday. Regardless, I just come from the cinema, actually. I haven't been in the cinema for like a year or something. I went to see Trap with my dad, the new M. Night Shyamalan movie. It was a really good movie, actually. It just has a 3.0 on Google, and it just doesn't deserve that. It was a decent movie. It was well done. It was a good movie, so whatever. But that's why I'm home late. I'm gonna finish it tonight. Okay, I call bullshit. Eddie's not climbing that thing in with one arm. He's like, look at him. He's so tiny too. In the original, like in the book, Bill carried. They were like not going through the well house. They were going through a like sewer drain, basically, like in the Barrens. Bill was carrying Eddie down. So I find that much more easy to believe than this, but like, you started the thing with a well house, so you better go with it. Oh no, Dutch angle. Where was the cut here? I'm so confused. Like, they're in a completely different spot. Look at this. It like cut from here to here, and it looks... I completely didn't get that the scene changed, because it looks so similar to where they are now. That's also like super dumb. But okay. There should have been an establishing shot between. I think that was a bird's noise reference to the book for Stanley, who defeated it through the power of birds, because it came as a giant bird and Stanley was like, fucking hell, I don't believe in you, you're not a real bird. The bird also like was the thing that scared Mike the most, so it appeared. It makes very little sense, unfortunately, to put like Ben at the top, because he's canonically, at least in the book, the heaviest, so like, I'm sorry. I was just wondering a little bit if it like makes sense for Georgie not to have an arm, because in this version Billy wouldn't know that Georgie had lost an arm because they never found him. Meanwhile, in the book, he knew because Georgie was brought back to the house and he saw him. But I decided to let it slide. Somebody in a reaction that I watched pointed out that was why Bill knew that Georgie was like not real. Never thought of that, but probably yes. Country roads, Billy. How do these bolt guns work? Because like there's something like shooting out, like little... Why does it need to be loaded at all if there's like a little spike shooting out? That's kind of goofy. Yay! Yes, Richie! Oh, that's Mike's fear. Forgot about that. There's the mummy, which is also a reference to the book. That's such... It always makes me laugh. That weird scene always makes me laugh when he says, fear. And then he just, like, disappears. That's a genuinely very sad scene, very good scene. What I liked they included, or well, didn't include for this version of the story is Eddie's sense of direction, because we're going to watch it chapter 2, of course. And Eddie's not going to be there when they have to get out, so they kind of get lost, and it's like really annoying. And here they also kind of get lost despite Eddie's great sense of direction. And well, then the very very much extended scene of what happened between Ben and Beverly happens, and it's the worst thing. I wish it wasn't in there. It is so bad. It's so uncomfortable. It's like it is the one reason why I would very much downvote the book as my least favorite of Stephen King that I have read so far. It takes away the plot hole that the losers would have never, because the fucking clown is like deep down in the sewers. Not like you could reasonably just walk out again, like in the movie. I'm so glad the ending is so much better than the book. Of this part, especially we can talk about it chapter 2 later, but when we get to it, but this part of the ending of this cycle, so much better. That also makes more sense than the book, because there it's Stan who like picks it up, which I think is foreshadowing, but which I think what happened in the book actually was that Stan knew that was what Bill wanted to do, so he went through with it because the cutting was his natural instinct, which that is very dark. I'm very sorry about that, but that's I think what actually happened. It was what Bill would have done, and so Stan was the executioner in that sense. But it makes much more sense if it's Bill doing it. Also, there's no way that bled that much. Sorry to tell you. Also, that's a beautiful outfit that Beverly's wearing. I would wear that. Of course, we see him go first. Then next, it's gonna be Eddie, and he hugs Richie. Then there's Mike, who would not have been there in the book for the showdown in chapter 2. So that's where he leaves next. Then of course Richie, then leaving the love triangle behind. She's so pretty. Okay, so that was it chapter 1. Of course, we still have the later cycle to go through. Probably gonna have some stuff to say. Yeah, I don't want to watch The Umbrella Academy. Stop it. It's a good movie, for sure. It is a very good movie. Again, lots of things where I'm like, yeah, would prefer the book version, but also some things where I prefer the movie version. So that's always fun. Yeah, I think that is all I have to say. I like that movie. Looking forward to chapter 2. I'll see you around for that. I am going to bed now. It is not 12 actually. I'm not going to bed after all. Regardless. Thank you for watching. I hope you have an awesome day. I'll see you for the next one. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to leave a like, and also leave me a comment if you like, because I really enjoy those, because it lets me know what you liked, and it lets me know that I should keep doing this. So thank you so much. Bye bye.